Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host as always, Daniel Levi, your co-host Shaq. We're going to be talking the money fight, Mayweather-McGregor, and man, the money fight is finally here this weekend.
The biggest fight in combat sports history, and Conor McGregor is changing sports, and let's see if he gets the job done.
And joining us to talk about the money fight is top 15 UFC lightweight James Vick. James, how's it going, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing incredible, man. So, I mean, dude, are you excited for this fight Saturday? I mean, a lot of people are saying it's not even going to be a fight.
I mean, I'm excited. It's a spectacle. You know, it's an entertainment. Of course, I'm 100% excited. I don't know how it's going to turn out for McGregor. I don't think he's going to do that great, but I'm excited about the fight, and I'll definitely be tuning in.
So, you know, for most episodes of Half the Battle, we break down an entire UFC card. You know, we do the prelims, the main card, everything. But here, we only got one fight to talk about. So, in order to make this fun, I brought out a couple topics that we should talk about for this matchup. And the starting one is our overall assessment of the matchup. So, Shaq, I got to ask you, man, what is your overall assessment of the matchup? We'll give our prediction at the end.
Yeah, my assessment of the matchup, I got a few questions. Vic, a former boxer yourself, I've always wondered, is it easier to transition from the movement and distance in boxing to MMA, or the movement and distance in MMA to boxing? So I'm really curious to see how McGregor adjusts to actually being in a boxing ring, and some of his weapons aren't going to be able to be utilized in this fight. And I'm interested to see the power, how does power translate in a boxing match against a guy like Floyd, who's gone against some heavy hitters like Maidana or Shane Mosley, Canelo, things like that. And I want to see how he gets hit, how he reacts when he gets hit by a legit MMA fighter. So,
Vic, I mean, what's your assessment of the matchup, and can you comment on the distance thing Shaq talked about?
I think that McGregor's power only plays factor. First of all, when you say power, he only has power in one hand. He never knocked anyone out with a right hook or hurt him with a jab or anything like that. He literally is a left-handed, just one-shot killer with his left hand. But I think that's only important if he connects flush, which there's been one dude connect that flush with Mayweather and Rock'em in 49 fights, and that was the Shane Mosley fights. I think that that it's not the distance in boxing versus MMA. It's trying to close the distance on Floyd Mayweather. It's just you're fighting the greatest, one of the greatest boxers of all time, and definitely the greatest one of our era. And yeah, he may be 40 years old, but like he said, he's like, I'm 40, but I still got enough to beat this dude. So I just think that it's not. I think McGregor would do great against a 10-0 boxer, even a 15-0 boxer, because guys, in boxing they've had their records a lot anyway at that stage in their career. But I just think that it's not the distance and the difference and it's just who he's fighting.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd is arguably the greatest boxer of all time. And, when I went back and watched that first Maidana fight, when I watched it live, I was one of the people that thought Maidana won. But then I rewatched it, and Floyd clearly won that fight. It's just the fact that Maidana was going forward, and he was aggressive, he was brawling. So the commentators kind of fell in love with that, and they would kind of look past the fact that, Floyd was freezing him up with body shots, man. And no one ever talked about that. And when I went back and rewatched it, I actually thought Floyd clearly won the fight. Obviously, he clearly won the second one as well. The clinic he put on against Canelo. The Victor Ortiz fight as well. People try to act like that was dirty, but Victor Ortiz was the one doing the dirty shit with all those headbutts, and then he's trying to be his friend after he headbutted him 3 times. And the ref said, let's go. It's not like the ref, stopped him. The ref said, fight. And Floyd knocked him out. So I didn't have a problem with that at all. But one thing I want to say is that I noticed in the Berto fight, and this was his last fight, that, even though it was a 12-round domination, I do think that he slowed down a step. Now, I'm not going to say that McGregor is going to beat him based off that, but I sincerely believe that that wasn't the same prime Floyd that we saw, in the Canelo fight, in the Maidana fights. And as I say that, that's a late 30s man, so who knows if that was even in his prime as well. But I do think he lost a step in the Berto fight, but is that enough for McGregor to go in there and get this upset?
Man, my honest opinion, he's going to have to land a flush punch and just end this within the first 6 rounds. But Floyd's so smart defensively. He knows how to roll with the punches, do the shoulder roll, take the effect off the punches. So, I don't think so.
Vic, were you under the impression at all that he lost a step in the Berto fight?
You know what? I was actually watching the fight 2 days ago when it came on. There was a replay on, but I only watched like the first 4 or 5 rounds before I had to take off, and he looked. I didn't feel like he lost a step, but what I did feel is that he can't, like he said, he even says it himself, he can't move around like he used to before. So he's going to stand. He was more flat-footed, and he was more head movement defense versus foot movement defense. And he's not as able to move as much. But I feel like, I felt like he looked good in the fight and everything. And Burrow's a tailor-made matchup for him. But he obviously he doesn't have the spring in his legs where he can move and just stay out of danger that way. So he's got to keep his hands up a little more, and move his head better at this point.
Now, Vic, were you surprised that Conor fucked up Paulie Malignaggi like that? And let me preface the question by saying that, before they were sparring, people were saying stuff like, the cameraman would beat up Conor McGregor, an amateur boxer could destroy Conor. So, I know Paulie's way over the hill and he was never even that great to begin with, but still the fact that he is, a former 2-time world champion, he is a pro boxer, and Conor went out there. I know it was only a 30-second clip, but he fucked him up. I was impressed with that because I didn't expect that. What was your assessment, Vic?
Yeah, I would like to see, obviously I would like to see the rest of the rounds, because you never know how it turns out. But from what it looks like, Conor probably did, beat him up a little bit. I think Paulie Malignaggi made a dumb mistake thinking that he could just go. I think he probably thought he just had a regular MMA guy, and I'm just going to go in there and beat this guy. He didn't train. He didn't come in shape. Hadn't been sparring. Hadn't been doing stuff. And I think he just thought he was going to come off his couch and beat up McGregor, and it turned out bad for him.
Yeah, dude, what did you think about that video? Because, those shots he was landing on Paulie, those were concussive blows.
Yeah, that straight left looked like money, but like we said, Paulie's over the hill. Paulie has 8 losses on his boxing record. It's way past his prime. And when's the last time Paulie even took a fight? And
earlier this year, and he lost.
Throughout his career, Paulie always lost to the big names in the sport. Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia.
But those guys are legit boxers.
Those guys are legit boxers. But I think he just, like Vic said, he came in there underestimating him, not in shape. Basically was a setup, in a sense. But he got lit up, and it was concussed talk.
Yeah. Now I forgot to mention the odds because currently it's minus 500 Floyd Mayweather. The comeback on McGregor is plus 435. Depends where you look. In other books, it's minus 400 Mayweather with a plus 300 on McGregor. Now, a lot of people think it's value on Mayweather, and it absolutely is in terms of comparing the current line to the opening line, because I believe it was minus 1,200, minus 1,500 for that opener, which it kind of should be based on, if you're looking at this on paper, you can make the argument about the 0-0 guy versus the 49-0 boxer, but I don't view this like, CM Punk going to the UFC and fighting a fighter, because McGregor actually is an athlete. He's been in a fist fight before. This isn't a first for him. It's just going to another man's sport that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, and the line, the money team, Floyd Mayweather's team, they have a way with these lines. Like for example, the Adrian Broner and Ashley Theophane fight. The line was super in favor of Theo. Well, it was close as where we knew Theophane really didn't have a chance, but come fight day, the line had got so inflated that everyone had to take the chance, and they got everyone's money, and they're known for doing it. The Adrian Broner Mikey Garcia fight recently, Adrian Broner was like 5-1 at one point, and then all of a sudden he's like plus 170 the day of the fight. So they know how to get everyone's money. They know how to make that line enticing enough for you to take that shot, and maybe that's what they're doing here.
Now, Vic, I know on paper a minus 400 for Floyd Mayweather here seems incredible because it should probably be minus 1,000, but at the same time, as a gambling man, would you be willing to lay down that kind of chalk, on a fight like this?
How much money are we talking about? Laying down 1,000?
Well, I'm just saying, just playing the minus 400. The amount doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying playing a line like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. Yeah. It depends. It always gets scary when you bet big money like that, and the only reason is that you never know what could happen as far as injuries or a headbutt and a cut or anything like that. One of the guys could go in there and dislocate their shoulder or something, or break their ankle, roll their ankle and break it. So you never know. That's always the scary part about betting, on sports, is you never know the health factor. If someone's going to get hurt or someone's going to get headbutted or something like that. But I mean, yeah, for those odds, I think it's very good.
Now, Vic, does the fact that Mayweather is eating Burger King on fight week give you any pause in picking him, or is he simply trying to sell more pay-per-views with this perception that McGregor has a chance?
No, honestly, I think Mayweather's trying to get the odds down so he can bet the money on himself, because he always bets on himself. And I think that little BS story about him getting knocked out by Zab Judah flying or something. I think someone looked at it or something, you know. Dang, what was the original question you just said?
Yeah, I mean, like him eating Burger King on fight week, is that to sell more pay-per-views?
Yeah, I think it's BS. I think it's total BS. I think it's just all a front, and just like he posted videos of him skating but not training and stuff like that. But he's always did that stuff. And if you go back and watch a lot of his 24/7 shows and stuff like that, he's always kind of just BS. But you know, and McGregor even said that himself. You know, he's like, I don't think Floyd's bullshitting and not training and stuff. He can sit there and post that stuff and him going skating and stuff. But I believe he's in the gym putting in work and training hard. And I always think that. I mean, Mayweather's not where he's at for no reason, you know.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, Shaq, I'm completely with Vic in the sense that we know Mayweather's training hard. That's not even the question here. But should a 41-year-old man be eating Burger King on fight week, or is it simply a case where, I mean, this dude's, you know, he might have been working out a million times and just had one little burger and it was no big deal, but that's what they showed on video.
And we don't know what might have happened when the camera got turned off. He might have took it out of his mouth and spit it out. So, I mean, he's just trying to get in. He's trying to do anything to get that line down, like Vic said, so he can bet on himself. And this is what he's known for. And, you know, he said he was eating that burger to put on some weight, but the guy's going to come in shape. I don't look that much into it. I've seen him eating McDonald's before in camps, like on the 24/7 show, so I'm not going to put that much stock into it.
Well, let's talk about what we're betting for this fight, because, you know, I'm not about to lay minus 500, and I don't want to take the chance on Conor unless he's plus 1,000, but my man Shaq found probably the best prop on this card, and you want to tell him what it was?
Well, yeah, you know, I was on 5 Dimes, you know, I was scrolling down, and I saw some props, and I found a prop. When I initially found it, it was plus 157 for no glove touch after the opening bell of round 1. And, you know, Conor McGregor don't touch gloves. Floyd Mayweather rarely touches gloves. He has maybe once or twice throughout his career. But with all the beef, you know, I fully expect him not to touch gloves after the first bell. And shout out to that website for even giving us that prop, because I bet it 3 times at a total of like plus 130. So I'm pretty sure it's free money. I don't think they're going to touch gloves. I hate when guys touch gloves anyways, but I think it's free money.
No, and I mean, for anyone listening, look, they can touch gloves as much as they want during the face-off. It's just immediately after the opening bell of round 1, you know, within that 10-second window, they just can't touch gloves there. They can hug as much as they want after the fight. So as long as they don't touch gloves in the first 10 seconds of the first round, we cash this nice bet. You know, I hit it once at plus 110. I hit it once at plus 100. Currently, we're looking at minus 245. That's what sharps do.
Yeah, I mean, I got it at plus 157, plus 130, and plus 110.
Vic, tell me what you think about this prop, man. So we're betting that these two don't touch gloves at the beginning of round 1.
Well, I think it's a good bet, but what? Consulted each other and bet the house on that or something.
Oh, no, don't worry. We ain't betting the house or nothing. You know.
That'd be nuts. No, yeah, I think it's a pretty, what was the odds on that again?
Like plus 110. He got it at plus 157. He moved the line to plus 110.
Yeah, I got it at a total of plus 110.
That's a good bet, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said, you get scared, but I wouldn't be that worried that they're going to touch gloves. I wouldn't be worried about that bet. Honestly, I think it's a good pick.
Now, you are picking Mayweather, man, and I mean, we'll get to the prediction here in a second, but I mean, are you thinking this goes the full 12, or are you seeing a finish here, man?
No, I'm thinking a finish. I'm thinking within the first 8 rounds, I think he's going to win. I think the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about boxing is the difference in when a boxer sets his feet and starts punching, the difference in power level. People can say what they want to about Mayweather not being – the only way, to me, in my mind, the only way Mayweather doesn't finish this fight is if he hurts his hands or something and just has to move around a lot. Because Floyd can punch way harder than people think he can. Just like, you know, everyone says, oh, you know, Floyd has no punching power. Bernard Hopkins has no punching power. Well, these guys may have not knocked nobody out in years. Nobody just walks through their shots. When they hit them, people stay off. They stay at bay and they're happy losing 12-round decisions. And I think that McGregor is I don't think he's gonna. I just don't believe he has the gas tank to fight 12 rounds. I don't believe it. And I think that even if he doesn't get clean and get knocked out by something, I think that he's gonna take a knee. He's gonna get dropped in the body shot and take a knee, or potentially his corner might even throw in the towel. But I don't see him going 12 rounds. I really don't.
Well, you know, it's interesting because in the second round of the second Diaz fight, not the first, the second, you know, because in the first round, man, you know, he dropped him like 3 times, but he goes out there in the second round, towards the second half of it, Diaz started, you know, pinning him up against the fence, started landing big combinations, which he is known for, and it almost seemed like Conor was kind of gassing out, kind of checking out, but at the same time, that was an MMA fight, the clinch exchanges are much different, but man, going into someone else's sport, I really do have to question how the cardio is going to hold up.
Yeah, you know, I kind of agree. You know, my thoughts on the fight is I think McGregor will come out early, throwing the left straight, but as the fight gets into the later rounds, the difference in sports is just gonna show. I think Floyd's just gonna run away with it. I'm not sure if he's gonna get a finish because, you know, I did hear a top 10 MMA fighter say that he's went 12 rounds with Floyd. It was sparring, not
you can mention who?
Kevin Lee said he went 12 rounds with Floyd and it was completely fine. So, you know.
Shit.
You know, he claimed that he went 12 rounds with Floyd and was completely fine, like not hurt at all. So we'll see. So I'm not sure if McGregor's going to get finished, but I see like a 119, 111 scorecard. I mean, he might win a round. I highly doubt it, but he'll land some lefts, but he'll get his ass whooped.
The thing is, like, one interesting thing that Vic brought up was that, you know, McGregor's not known for really using that right hand. And in boxing, man, you got to use both them weapons, man. You got to set up that jab. You got to rip it to the body. And I feel like Mayweather will be able to kind of time the setups of McGregor. He's going to get a read on it. But at the same time, you know, something that you talked about earlier in the show, that distance and that timing, can McGregor use MMA elements without kicking, without takedowns, and without a Muay Thai clinch?
It's going to be real interesting. That's what I'm really interested to see, if he can use that in and out dart movement and, you know, if it's going to frustrate Floyd, or is Floyd ready and prepared for that. So allegedly he's been bringing MMA fighters in as well to spar with, so we'll see.
Now, Vic, is it weird or almost completely inaccurate that people are comparing this fight to CM Punk versus Mickey Gall?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That doesn't even make no damn sense. I mean, McGregor, first of all, McGregor was a boxer. He was an amateur boxer. I don't know how many amateur boxing fights he had, but I know he boxed for several years, at least 2 or 3 or maybe even more years before he went to MMA. So he's boxed before. Obviously, he's not going to, you know, he's not going to be on the caliber of Floyd. But, yeah, it's completely one sport throws punches, the other one is a fake wrestler who didn't have an amateur wrestling background, had nothing in his life, no fighting in his life. So yeah, it's totally different. I mean, definitely McGregor has a better chance to win this boxing fight than CM Punk does to fight a world class fighter and beat him for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to agree with that because CM Punk, like he said, he's never fought a day in his life, whereas McGregor's been in real fights, you know what I'm saying? He's been full mounted, he's been choked out, you know? He's knocked dudes out with kicks and obviously the left hand. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, what's your opinion of people comparing this to CM Punk? You know, because one thing about the boxing community for this fight specifically is that they're overly confident to a point where, you know, they're making it seem like it's just some random MMA boxer going in there. And I understand because, you know, for the most part, a lot of the MMA guys don't have, you know, the best hands. But McGregor ain't just anyone.
It's completely different. Like you guys said, CM Punk had no fights. And at the time, Mickey Gall had like, 1 or 2 fights and fought Mike Jackson, who's a cool dude, by the way. And who else? Some guy on the local scene before that. So it's completely different. We got 2 world champions. So it's definitely a wrong comparison.
Now, this is the question that I've been asking all week. And, Vic, I want to know your take on this first, man. Can McGregor bend the rules and utilize borderline MMA techniques, possibly in the clinch, to gain an advantage and give Mayweather a new look?
I don't see it. I mean, I think if he's smart, he'll try to tie his arms up and maybe gas him out like in a pummeling situation, just like just like wrestlers do, like Randy Couture would pin people on the fence and pummel them and dirty box them and make them do that. The problem with it is a ref's going to break that up. And if Mayweather's smart, he's just going to relax his arms and let them do whatever they want to do. whatever he wants to do, you know, with the gripping and tugging on the arms and stuff, and then he's going to let the ref break it up, and then he's going to, you know, he's going to be fine because the ref's going to break it up the moment it gets tied up within a couple of seconds. But one thing, you know, I never thought about until, you know, I was thinking about that since you said that, is that, you know, a good possibility that could also happen is Mayweather tries to crack him on the break and could get, you know, points taken away. And I mean, think about this: what if Mayweather, not Mayweather, but McGregor, if McGregor cracked him on the break and caught him clean and dropped him or finished him or whatever on the break and got DQ'd, in his mind he still won. You know, so that's just might be a little sneaky tactic he might be planning too. You know, you never know.
Yeah. Now another thing that I think we should be aware of is, or at least we should guess on, is this ref going to be super strict with Conor? Because, you know, I know a lot of eyes are going to be on, you know, is he going to try to utilize MMA techniques? Because if he does, man, he's going to get DQ'd on the spot and a very hefty fine. That being said, you go back and you watch that first Maidana fight, and Maidana was able to make it a dirty fight. He still lost, but he was able to make it a dirty street fight, and what he did, you know, while doing that was he utilized some MMA techniques. He utilized a tie clinch. He even he shot in for a takedown, and Floyd almost went through the ropes, and the ref didn't take a single point. So, you know, I'm wondering, man, do you think if McGregor tries to do similar shit, that is the ref going to be more strict on him?
You know, I feel like he has to do the same thing like Maidana. Like, just you can do it, but don't go all the way with it. You know, don't go overboard with it. Just you got to do it in like a boxing way almost. Like Maidana's plenty of fights, so he knows what to do. He knows how to make it dirty. Maidana was real dirty in that fight. He was headbutting him. He was eye gouging him. So he's a real dirty fighter, but a solid fighter. But I don't really look that much into it. I think the ref's going to be on top of things. If he even attempts or acts like he's throwing a kick or a knee or doing dirty things in the clinch, they're going to separate it. They're going to warn him several times, and they're going to threaten him with that point deduction.
Vic, you think the ref's going to be more strict with Conor if he tries to do that kind of thing?
Well, you know what's crazy, I think, too, is that I do think he's going to be stricter. I think he's going to break it up and everything like that. But I don't think you can compare that to Maidana because the type of fighter Maidana is, he's already a looping, overhand right, left hook, wild swinging fighter, even in boxing. And McGregor's not. McGregor's a clean shot, straight in, you know, straight left hand, precision striker. And I don't think McGregor could just be a looping roundhouse fighter, bully like that, even if he wanted to. I think that he's trained all those years to have a skill set to avoid stuff like that. So I just don't think that comparison is very accurate. You know, for them to compare that. And I think that the referee's going to do his job as he should and break it up anytime anything like that happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only reason I brought it up because it's like the closest thing that anyone's ever done to MMA techniques in the boxing ring with Floyd Mayweather. But that being said, man, since you said that, now I got to ask you, do you think Floyd's going to go out there and just come right at him, or do you think Floyd's going to let Conor come to him?
You know what's funny is I think that both of them are going to be more patient at first. I think Conor's going to eventually, I think like the first, when I say at first, I mean like the first minute or so, minute and a half. But then I do think that McGregor's going to come. And I think Floyd's going to be smart the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then after that, I think Floyd's going to start taking over, and then I think he's really going to break him down to the body.
Shaq, who's going to take a back step first?
I think Floyd will take a back step first, but I think he'll still win. I mean, the guy takes off the first 4 rounds and still probably wins 3 of the rounds on all the judges' scorecards. So I mean, I think Floyd will take a back step first and still win the round.
Now, if McGregor was to somehow pull this off, would this be the greatest upset in sports history?
Man, in sports history or combat?
Sports history.
Sports history.
Just on the merit that you have a guy going into a completely different sport. I know they're both combat sports, but it's still a different sport. And he's taking on the greatest of all time, who's 49-0. McGregor's 0-0. If he somehow pulled off this upset, would that be the greatest upset in sports history?
I'm not going to say sports history because there's been some crazy upsets just in the history of sports. But in combat sports, yeah, I'd have to say so. Just that, like you said, it's a completely different sport that he's never had a pro fight in. And to take out the pound-for-pound GOAT, the TBE, the number one guy in the world. So yeah, I'd say so.
Vic, I mean, in terms of the odds, it wouldn't be the greatest upset in sports history because, I mean, look, Barao versus TJ Dillashaw, the line was way crazier on that one. But in terms of the magnitude of the fight, do you think it'd be the greatest upset in sports history if McGregor won?
I actually do, in all sports, just because Mayweather has never lost. And just because the roster of who Mayweather has beat. I mean, Mayweather has beat Pacquiao, he has beat Canelo, he has beat Mosley, he has beat De La Hoya. I do think I think it would be by far the greatest upset in sports history, just because Floyd Mayweather has never lost, and he has the best record in boxing history, tied with Rocky Marciano, the best record ever, and no one else has that. And he wins this fight, he'll have the best record. And you can say, oh, well, the 50th one didn't count because he's fighting an MMA guy or whatever. Those dudes back in the day used to have a bum in the month club, so it's not like they fought all hard competition like they acted like they did back then.
No, I 100% agree, man. I do think if McGregor wins, this will be the greatest upset in sports history because, like we already mentioned a million times, he's going into another man's sport, and he's not just fighting any other boxer. He's fighting the greatest boxer of all time. He's got an 0-0 record, and Mayweather's 49-0. It's just, if he did this, man, I mean, can you think of some,
big upsets in sports? I remember, like, as a kid, the Boston Red Sox were, like, down 3-0 to the Yankees, and they came back and won the series 4-3, being down. No one at the time had ever done that.
3-0 on games.
Yeah, 3-0 on games, and they came back and won the World Series. Man, there's been the NCAA tournament has some big upsets all the time, every year. I remember when Duke lost to Mercer. Mercer was, like, plus 5,000.
Like the betting line was plus 5,000?
Mercer in Georgia, the school,
See, but the thing with those, in terms of the odds, that's a crazy upset. But, like, I don't know who the fuck those guys are.
Exactly.
Whereas I go to the store and random people are talking about Mayweather McGregor.
That's why I'll say combat sports, because sports, there's so many different sports. I'm sure, like, there's plenty of things that we could think of.
It's going to be the talk of the town and the world if McGregor can pull this off somehow. So, now I got to ask you guys, and I wish there was a prop on this, over or under 4.9 million buys?
I'm going to go under. I don't think it'll hit 4.9 million. I think it'll hit 1 million for sure, but 4 or 5 million buys, I don't think so. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. Football season's kicking in right now. I think some people's attention will be elsewhere. I think it'll still do great pay-per-view numbers, but under 5 million.
Vic, over or under 4.9 million buys?
Who did the 4.9 million? Was that Floyd in Pacquiao?
I believe so. It was around there.
What 4.9 is the record?
Around there, 4.7, 4.8. I mean, it's definitely around that number. Slightly less than 5.
Okay. I think that they'll beat. I think they'll beat the Pacquiao. And Mayweather fight. I do that. I don't know what that was. If that was 4.9, then I think that they'll beat it. So if that fight was 4.9, then yeah, I think they'll beat that number. I do. I thought it was like 4.6 or something like that. But so if the Pacquiao Mayweather fight was 4.6, I don't think that they're going to go all the way to 5. But I do think whatever that number was, I think that McGregor and Mayweather beat it.
I just looked it up. It was 4.6.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I think they'll beat that number. I don't know about 4.9. I don't know.
So here's how I feel, and I hope I'm dead wrong because I'm gonna go with under 4.9. And once again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is the biggest pay-per-view in sports history. I hope it's over 5 million. But the reason it could be over is because, unlike the Pacquiao fight, so everyone wanted to see the Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao, he's got a country behind him. He's got, all these things, but he doesn't really hype the fight up. He doesn't really talk that much. Whereas Mayweather, he carried that promotion on his back. In this fight, it goes both ways. You got two guys that are promoting the fight, two, alpha male, mega confident dudes that got these unbelievable personalities, and people want to see both of them get in there and fight. People want to see either guy win or get knocked out. So for that reason, it could go over. The reason I think it's going to go under is actually based on what Shaq said. There's so much shit going on in the world right now that I do think people are going to, a lot of people are going to be watching, don't get me wrong, but I do think that not as many as we think are going to be buying it. And just because, there's so much shit. People are hating the president. There's a solar eclipse going on the other day. You know, football's coming up. So much shit. So I'm going to go with under, but I hope I'm dead wrong on that. Now, Shaq, I got to ask you, man. In your opinion, what's the most impressive performance by both Floyd and Conor?
Most impressive performance by Floyd, Canelo. I mean, he pieced him up. It was one of the most beautiful counter-punching performances I think I've ever seen. McGregor, Jose Aldo, 13-second KO. Even the Eddie Alvarez fight, I mean, that was pretty good too. But I'm going to go Jose Aldo for Conor and Canelo for Floyd.
So, Vic, what's the most impressive performance by both guys?
You know, it's funny. I got to go with the exact same one. The exact same one. I mean, Canelo was, yeah, they would say, oh, yeah, he's a little young. He was a little young. At the time he was only like 23 years old or something like that. But the dude already had, 40-plus professional fights. And had been pro since he was 16 years old. So he had 8 years of being a pro. So he wasn't new to the game. And he's bigger, naturally way bigger guy. And that was definitely, to me, was Floyd's most impressive performance. And then the Jose Aldo performance, because I just think, Jose Aldo was undefeated for 10 years. And like you said, the Eddie Alvarez fight was impressive, but I think Jose Aldo would beat the shit out of Eddie Alvarez. So stylistically, I think that was definitely his best performance. Was McGregor's best performance was the Aldo fight.
And real quick before I give my opinion, what do you think about this Justin Gaethje versus Eddie Alvarez fight? Because I know tons of you guys want that Eddie Alvarez fight, and it looks like Justin Gaethje got that lottery ticket.
Man, I think it's. I mean, this sounds like a far-fetched theory, but I think this is all premeditated by the UFC. I think that they're using Eddie Alvarez. They're trying to use Eddie Alvarez as a sacrificial lamb for Gaethje, because I think they're going to try to use Gaethje as a sacrificial lamb against Conor. And I thought that for a while. Now, the only thing that messes up my theory a little bit is the fact that they're giving Kevin Lee and Ferguson an interim belt. But I've always thought that ever since the Gaethje thing, and they were already talking about fighting for a title, this and that, and then Conor even retweeted or tweeted something about the fight, stuff like that. I thought that, that doesn't mean Eddie Alvarez can't go in there and land a shot and win, but I think the longer the fight goes, he's going to get broken down if he doesn't land a big shot. And the UFC thinks he's shot. They realize he's done. There's 10 people in the division right now that would whip Eddie Alvarez's ass, including myself. And it's just I think they're trying to use him as a sacrificial lamb so Gaethje can get that big fight or whatever is what I think. But we'll see.
Man, that's a good theory. Gaethje, he's violent, but I think he's got some holes in his game. So I wouldn't be shocked if Eddie found that shot. But like you said, Eddie's on his way out. But that's a good theory you have.
How do you? Think about this. McGregor is going to touch Gaethje right on the chin and knock him out.
Yeah,
stylistically, sure. Unless Gaethje can just break his legs down,
Yeah.
I think that it's a great matchup for McGregor. McGregor's going to catch him and just bust that chin,
Yeah. And, with the Michael Johnson fight, it was an impressive performance, but a lot of people forget that he got walloped about 30 times, and the fact that, there were some rumors about Michael Johnson's habits outside the cage. And, Michael Johnson, he's when his back's against the wall, he's very good, but like Kevin Lee said, he's got 30 fights and he's lost half of them. So
it's so interesting that Michael Johnson, let's talk about that for a sec, because he's the best 500 fighter on the planet. You know why? Because, look, I know he's a 500 fighter, but on his best day, he can beat Edson Barboza. He can beat Dustin Poirier. He can beat Tony Ferguson. But on his worst day, he's losing to Paul Sass and shit. Vic, you think there's any chance you and Michael Johnson can throw it on? I know you'd love to take his ranking.
I don't think right now that that's a chance, because I got offered another fight earlier today, so that's in the works, and we're going to see about that. Can't say anything yet, but it wasn't him. I'll say that.
My opinion, the most impressive performance by both Floyd and Conor. Look, I thought both of you guys brought up some great examples. The Canelo fight, you can't go wrong with that. But since you guys both listed that, let me go with something else. I want to go with both Maidana fights, and I'll tell you why. I understand that a lot of people thought that, maybe Floyd didn't look as good in the first one, but I think it was just the style matchup of, Maidana is this wild brawler, and I felt like Floyd made the proper adjustments in there. I mentioned earlier how he was freezing him up with body shots. No one ever talked about that. He stunned Maidana a lot of times. If you actually go back and you listen to the corners, by the 10th round, Maidana's corner is telling him, do you want this shit? I mean, you're giving it away now, man, because, he came out so hard early, and Floyd figured him out, and then after that fight was over, a lot of people thought Maidana won. So the rematch got scheduled, and Floyd, I believe he beat him 11-1 or 12-0 in the rematch. So the fact that he can make those kind of adjustments, it just, it further cements him as the greatest boxer of all time. And I 100% agree with both of you guys when you say that Aldo would whoop Eddie Alvarez. And in terms of what that win means, it is a greater win than the Eddie Alvarez performance. But in terms of just overall, getting to see all elements of the game, even though we didn't see his ground game, but still, he stuffed all the takedowns of Eddie Alvarez. He got on top of him. He nullified a knee bar attempt, landed nice ground and pound, and his distance in that Eddie Alvarez fight was just on a different level. And the confidence he brought into the cage that night, and that was his 55 debut in the UFC, man, and he won the belt that night. So for me, that was his greatest performance. Now, we got to get down to the final predictions. So, Shaq, the final prediction for the money fight, Mayweather-McGregor. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Floyd Mayweather by 11 rounds to 1 decision.
Okay, so Conor's going to go out there and win a round. You think it's going to be an early one?
First round.
Okay. Yeah. Vic, man, what are you thinking?
I'm going with Mayweather. I'm going with Mayweather, a stoppage within 9 rounds.
Okay, and I know you kind of alluded to earlier, you think he'd maybe take a knee from a body shot or the corner would throw in the towel, but what about a scenario where, Floyd's unloading on him with volume and it's a standing TKO and the ref intervenes and calls it?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility as well. I think that it's going to be, I don't think McGregor's just going to shell up and just take the punches. He's going to either get caught clean or he's going to grab a bunch. And then maybe, you never know. Honest to God, like a lot of these theories sound far-fetched, but, McGregor may be getting the shit beat out of him and start grabbing so much that he gets DQ'd. Because he's still going to get paid the same, and he's going to be like, and then he'll have some BS reason why he did it, and it won't look as bad as him getting knocked out. He may get called for holding too much, and they finally DQ him because he just refuses to quit holding or something. All that's a possibility, I think. I think pretty much any of that's a possibility of him trying any shit like that, except I don't think he's going to, try to kick him or do something, to break the rules and lose money or shit like that. But I do think that, any of that's a possibility that he's going to grab him, get DQ'd, he's going to low blow him, get DQ'd, he's going to tie him up in the clinch and grab it, punch him behind the head and get DQ'd. I think all those are possibilities. Because you don't lose any money that way.
This is true. Well, man, it's tough for me to call because I can see it going down a number of ways. But the one thing about it is when everyone is so confident on one outcome, and I'm just saying this as a betting man, whenever everyone is so confident on one outcome as it's going to happen no matter what, that's when crazy shit happens in the sport, because that's how I was the first time that Barao and TJ Dillashaw fought. And I know they're in the same sport. This is a different scenario, but still, I learned a lot as a gambling man that night because, I was making dumbass mistakes like playing on minus 800 on Barao, and I thought it was easy money. I thought he was going to smoke TJ, and I had to learn my lesson the hard way. Now, this is a completely different scenario, but it kind of reminds me of that because everyone's acting like this is going to be the easiest fight, the easiest money ever, and it might be. It might very well be. It's Mayweather we're talking about here, but I don't want to count out Conor McGregor. I have to be smart and pick Mayweather, but I really hope I'm wrong. And I hope that McGregor goes out there and gets the biggest upset in sports history just because I want to see these reactions the next day. Not because I want to see any of you guys lose money. That's not the reason. I just want to see how much that would turn the world on its side, on its back, to if McGregor went out there and did the unthinkable. So
honestly, I don't hope that McGregor wins. And I'm not a hater on McGregor, but first of all, I want to see Floyd go down that 50-0. But also, I don't want to hear all these retards that really, if McGregor wins, this is going to be a lucky, clean punch. And I don't want to hear all these retards talking about, I told you so, I knew it, and this is shit. I'd rather save myself than hearing all that bullshit.
Well, Vic, it's funny. It's kind of like when we talked about the Rousey versus Holm fight. Holm was like plus 800, and you and I talked about it after the fact, and you were telling me how all these people were like, oh, I told you so, and none of them said shit before the fact.
That's the way it always is. They're never going to say shit before. They never do. And then, or people always. I have a teammate up in Maryland where I train. He always does this shit where he'll like bet the random or just pick the randomest BS guy to win. Oh, he's going to win. Mark my words. Like somebody fought who was it the other day that fought? He's like, I got him. He's going to win. And it's no damn way, damn well this guy wasn't going to win. But then he just wants to be that guy who can say, it's such an unbelievable fact that the guy you're talking about was going to win that if he loses, no one's going to say, oh, well, you lost, you didn't know, because no one expected him to win anyway. But then if he wins, he looks like a hero saying, oh, I got it right. I knew it the whole time. It's just annoying,
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like in this fight, no matter who wins, it's gonna be annoying no matter what. Even if Floyd wins, because then everyone's gonna be like, "I told you this MMA guy didn't have a chance." Exactly. So I mean, what do you think, man? I mean, what do you hope happens? I know what you think is gonna happen.
I mean, I'm an MMA fan. I bet on MMA, so obviously I'm gonna cheer for the MMA guy. But at the same time, sometimes you just got to be realistic here. I mean, he only has a left-hand shot to win this fight, and Floyd can game plan for that fairly easily. So unless he just goes out, gets knocked out, which I don't think is going to happen. That's the only way I see him.
But if it did happen,
I'd be happy for him. I mean, like you said, it would be one of the greatest upsets in sports history. He's an MMA guy, so of course I'll be happy.
Yes, sir. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. This has been badass. I hope the fans enjoyed it. Follow this man at MMA Genius 05. Follow Vic at James Vick MMA. Follow me at Best Fight Picks. James, any message for the fans before we get out of here, man?
Just follow me on all my social media accounts: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. James Vick MMA, and follow me in the next few days because I should be announcing my fight.
Awesome, man. Soon. Well, we can't wait to find out what that is. Shaq, any message for the fans, man?
No, man. Just shout out to you, Vic. Keep doing your thing. I don't know how you're not in the top 15, but it'll come soon.
He's in the top 15 as far as we're concerned.
But, you're going to stay patient. You'll get that big fight. Take care of this next guy, and all the best to you, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All the fans, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Best Fight Picks. Go to bestfightpicks.com for the plays. Subscribe to Half the Battle on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Shaq and I will be back next week to finally cover UFC again. It's been a while, man, but Volkov and Struve are fighting in the main event at UFC Rotterdam, and going to be breaking down that card. Got a good underdog play in the works for that. So until the next time, let's cash these bets.